Hello everyone, Yonstar here, and it's my birthday! So every year I try to do one of these unscripted update videos for my birthday, and most of my past year has just been health issues, so most of this video is going to be about that. Before we get into that though, I just want to say that today I'm turning 22, and tomorrow my cat Casper is turning 18. So if you want to wish me a happy birthday, make sure to wish him a happy birthday too. Alright, so getting into the meat of this video, last year in late May, I got really sick. I was like in the middle of my period, and the day after my heavy day, I almost fainted in the shower. I couldn't eat dinner, I was really dizzy, I was in a lot of abdominal pain. At first I thought I was dehydrated, but then I started thinking it was some kind of like kidney failure or something. Anyway, I ended up bedridden for 2 weeks. I legitimately thought I was going to die. Couldn't even really like stand or walk around or anything. I had to ask my younger sibling to walk me to the bathroom because I couldn't do it on my own. It was really scary. Though I did pass the time by binge watching all of The Amazing World of Gumball. I haven't seen the new series yet though. It was getting so bad that my dad was considering taking me to the hospital, but we had to wait for his paycheck to come in, and by the time it came in I had already started to feel better. I had to like slowly adjust and start like walking around again. Like getting used to walking again and sitting at my desk again. My sister was off work for those weeks, and yet I couldn't call her at all because I was just like dying. I was having really bad panic attacks too, and I would just like burst into tears because I legitimately thought I was just going to die. But yeah, after those 2 weeks I started to get better for a little while. I was able to eat, I wasn't as dizzy, I wasn't getting any cramping, because I was having like extremely painful cramps in my abdomen, like period cramps, but even after my period had ended. But that stopped after those 2 weeks. I was calling my sister, everything was fine. But then towards the end of June, my dog died. It hit me really hard. And then the day after he died, my period started. I was relatively fine for that week, but the day after my period ended, I was just in horrible pain. Luckily, I haven't been bedridden since those first 2 weeks back in May, but I was in so much pain. And I was just kind of dealing with it, but then in late August, I woke up and I felt like really dizzy, like I was going to have a seizure dizzy. And if you're familiar with my content, I have talked about it before that I used to have seizures, and it is my number one fear to have them again. So I woke up feeling dizzy, and then I just had the most intense pain, like I was getting stabbed. I was so scared and dizzy and in pain that I ended up screaming. Even though no one else was home at the time, so I was just, like, in bed screaming. And something to know about me is that I'm not very loud. Like, even when I'm in pain, I usually just deal with it quietly, but I was just so afraid and in pain that I just screamed. I asked my dad to take me to urgent care when he got home, but we ended up having to wait for like 4 days until we could go to the urgent care. At the urgent care, they kind of rushed us in and out, but they did do a urine sample and scheduled me for an ultrasound. I checked the paper after we left, and it said that they suspected I had an ovarian cyst, which is something I had also suspected back when I was bedridden, but you know, it was just one of many possibilities. But yeah, I did suspect it since like it happened during my period. The paper also said I had a high white blood cell count in my pee, but the doctor didn't say anything about it, so I just assume it's fine. Anyway, 3 days after we went to urgent care, I went and got that ultrasound. There was this particular spot over my ovary where she like pressed the machine down, and it really hurt. But you know, I didn't say anything, and I assume that's like where the cyst is. Yeah, they did call like a couple days after that and confirmed I had a cyst. They called my dad for it, which, you know, I told them to do. I signed the form for them to do that. And they told my dad how big it was, but he didn't remember what they told him, so I don't know actually how big it was. Which is kind of important, but whatever. They told us to have a follow-up 6 weeks later to see how it progressed, but we never went back. My dad was like, oh, it's too expensive, we'll just go to a gynecologist next time. But spoilers, we also didn't do that. So I've just been kind of living with it where like, I'm very nauseous, I'm dizzy, I'm constantly having panic and anxiety attacks. And back in November, a mosquito got in my room, and I confirmed that I do indeed have a mosquito allergy. It's not like anaphylactic, but the bite marks did like grow to the size of quarters, and I couldn't move without tearing at them, so it was incredibly painful and awful. Luckily it was only the one mosquito though. I was doing kind of okay in October. Like, I made sure to call my sister basically every week when I could, just so we could, watch our Halloween stuff. And October's important to me, so I was doing relatively okay. But then in late November, some shit went down. I won't name any names since I don't really want to do that or bring this up, but if you're in the Undertale and Deltarune community, you know that some shit went down in late November. The new Deltarune chapters came out when I was bedridden, and while I've been dealing with all these health issues, I'd been watching a lot of Deltarune content to just, get my mind off of it, calm me down, comfort stuff. And there was a certain someone who had, hours of Deltarune content that I used to, get me through this. And then one night, rumors started going around that the person I had been watching had gotten into some kind of controversy. It stressed me out that whole night. And for some context, I wake up at 6 p.m. and then go to bed at 9 a.m. So I'm a total night owl, and I just spent that whole night just worried and anxious about what was going on. I could not sleep that morning. I was just constantly tossing and turning and worrying. And when I woke up to my period starting and the document dropping. There were several documents actually, and I read every single page, even though it was incredibly triggering to me, because in my personal life I've dealt with stuff that was similar to this, and this is just it was awful. I was so anxious and cold and betrayed. I didn't know anyone involved, and I'm not trying to make this whole thing about me. It's just that, I don't know, I felt so sick by this whole thing. I almost threw up on Thanksgiving just because, everything, this content that was supposed to, help me and calm me down and get me through my illness just turned out to stress me out even more. But yeah, all the stress and, my period happening that day, it made me sicker again. But after all that, I started recording for my Godzilla video. And yes, that does mean that I've been working on this Godzilla video while dealing with all my poor health. I actually became bedridden while I was in the middle of writing the final script for Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. But yes, through late November and early December, I just bulk recorded the entire Godzilla video so I could get it done before my sister came out for Christmas. And I did not feel good while recording that. I almost fainted recording Godzilla 1954. Towards the end, I actually had to lay down in bed. Stop recording and lay down because I felt like I was going to pass out. And after all of that was done, my sister came out for Christmas. And while it was nice to see her, my health issues did not get better. Honestly, I had to skip a lot of calls with her just because I wasn't feeling well, and I thought I would be better when she was actually here. But the excitement of her being here actually ended up causing me to have panic attacks about it. So I ended up not doing much, and we did watch a bunch of movies, but I had to, distract myself. That way I wouldn't have, a panic attack over just watching movies. It's ridiculous. It was nice to see her, though, and we got to, watch the FNAF 2 movie and Perfect Blue. I did have fun, but I was, an anxious mess the whole time. Unfortunately, I haven't been back to see any doctors. Both the urgent care and, the ultrasound place keep trying to, send us bills even though we already paid. And you might be confused because I've said before that we have no health insurance, but we technically do. We get health insurance through my dad's job, it's just not very good. Back in Albuquerque, we had Medicaid, and it just fully covered all of our health expenses. My mom had 4 kids in cancer treatments, and she never had to pay a cent for it. It was great. But each state has its own rules with Medicaid, and we didn't qualify when we moved to Texas. So we've had to rely on my dad's job's health insurance, but it doesn't, fully pay off. You still have to have your own money, which is a problem because we are very, very poor. And those places keep sending us bills even though we haven't gone back and we paid up front, so anything else should have just gone to the insurance, but whatever. I was actually planning on going to a gynecologist in February once, my Godzilla video was done, right? But my dad didn't get his overtime check. They just didn't pay him. So we didn't have the money to go. And yes, that means I haven't been able to see a doctor recently. It also means it's been 8 months of constant pain and agony and being dizzy and feeling nauseous and sick, and I haven't been able to get any help for it. Not to mention that my sister called our grandmother, and, she told her that I was dealing with, ovarian cysts and health issues. And my grandma told my sister that the reason why my mom was an only child is because my grandma had ovarian cancer at one point, which none of us knew. Which means that I might be at a genetic risk of getting ovarian cancer. So yeah, that's scary, especially since I've been in pain for 8 months straight. Like, literally every day I'm in pain and having, like, period level or worse cramps. I'm not sure if it's the same cyst giving me issues, or if I've gotten more cysts, like there's multiple in there, or even that I do have one cyst, it just keeps getting replaced every cycle. I don't know. Hopefully I can go to a doctor soon and get all of this stuff checked out. It would also be nice if I could just, like, get a full hysterectomy and not have to deal with this ever again, but I'm not betting on it. Alright, moving away from the health issues, I want to talk a bit about my big Godzilla video that just came out, and some ideas for future projects I have in mind. So for some context, in order to get monetized, you need to have 4,000 watch hours on your channel. When I released my last Godzilla video, I hit 3,000, which let me join the partner program, but that means that I don't get monetized, I'm just a part of the program. I'm not getting paid yet. And I got like 50 watch hours away from getting monetized fully, but then, you know, they only count it for a year, so I had to watch it just slowly dip farther and farther away. And I've been kind of sad about it because I really do want to get monetized on YouTube. In fact, I was even thinking that if this Godzilla video doesn't get me monetized, I might just quit entirely. It's not that I'm doing this just for the money or anything, but you know, when you put months and months of work into something and you don't get paid for it and you have no other sources of income, it's kind of demoralizing. However, as of the time I'm recording this, my video is at 10,000 views, and I think that it finally pushed me over the threshold to get monetized. It hasn't fully calculated yet though, it usually takes a week to process the watch hours, but I think I might have gotten monetized, which is huge news. I am thinking about setting up a Ko-fi once that all gets processed and I'm officially, like, signed up for monetization, so I guess look forward to that. I would also like to clarify that I'm not, like, begging for money or anything. I know I just spent all this time going off about my health issues and how we don't have money, but I'm really not trying to, like, beg for people's money. If you want to pay me money, then you can, once the Ko-fi is set up. I'm just trying to clarify that I'm not, like, trying to drudge up some sympathy so people will give me more money. It's more like, hey, if you want to, then you can, you know, once, like, all that's set up. I don't know why I'm going off about this, I just don't want people to be mad at me. Speaking of which, I haven't been responding to comments like I usually do. Like, I'll usually try to, like, respond to every comment, but I'm not doing that anymore. I've had a couple people in the past get mad at me if I don't respond to them at a certain time, and I have my own life. So it's like, I'll react if I want to. I'll still be reading all the comments, but like, after the first day I probably just won't respond to comments, you know? It's just better for my health. Now onto some future projects. Like I teased at the end of the Godzilla video, my next video is gonna be Simpsons related. I have been taking a break though since, you know, I spent 18 months making that Godzilla video, so it's probably not gonna be out for a while. I haven't even started working on it yet. I'm also kind of working on a Pokemon video, just like, you know, working on it in the background. I do have to shiny hunt for it though, and I'm not entirely sure I'm actually gonna, like, release it. So it is gonna take a while, and, you know, I'm not entirely sure if it's gonna be finished. I will try my best though. After that, maybe I've been considering watching every Kong movie or watching every Gamera movie. I've been wanting to take a break from kaiju, but, you know, the next kaiju one, I'm leaning towards Kong because he has less movies than Gamera does. But if I get back into, like, the kaiju content, it's gonna be, like, Kong or Gamera. I'll probably work on the King Kong one first, though. And again, these are just, like, some ideas that I've had written down for, like, forever. It's not like one or the other, and to clarify, I don't want to become like a kaiju-focused channel, so I am going to take a very long break from the kaiju movies for a while, and kaiju shows, and kaiju books, and I'm going to take a break from kaiju for a while, because I did spend 18 months on that Godzilla video. I have also been really wanting to cover some horror movies. I do have my dad if I ever want to ask for, like, movie recommendations, but if there's any horror movies that you want me to watch, then feel free to comment them. I've also been considering maybe a Q&A, maybe a behind the scenes on my Godzilla video, but not sure, those are up in the air. I guess let me know if you want to see those. Anyway, I still am taking a break, just not making things, because I have been making YouTube videos for like 3 years straight now, and it is nice to just have free time where I don't have to worry about anything. I'm gonna be enjoying my birthday, hopefully I'll get monetized, and I'm gonna be spending my next week eating ice cream and playing Deltarune. My sister bought me Deltarune on New Year's for the winter sale, and I haven't had any time to play it, so I am very excited. Also been playing a lot of Project Mirai again, which has been a lot of fun. Anyway, I'll see you later. Bye!